Hello, everyone. My name is Arthur Govin. I am the Partnership Coordinator at the Next Street Driving School. I'm here today to bring you another Insuring a Teen Driver webinar. We have, as always, Taunya Bird on with us. I'm going to bring her on in a couple minutes. We're going to talk about everything when it comes to insuring a teen driver, insuring an adult driver, anything you need to know. We're here. We're happy to answer any questions. Um, you know, Very exciting day for us. We had some, go check out our TikTok. We have, just had a nice little viral video in there. So that's really exciting. I know everyone in marketing is super excited about that. And we're going to have some more content for you. As always, we do webinars every single week. So every Thursday at 4, I'm going to be here talking to somebody, or it's just going to be me going through all the things that you need to know about driving. So I'm going to first bring up this little screen. It's going to have it's going to have our website up on it. And the website is, as you can see, very nice. But what we're going to be focusing on in the website today is our insurance page. So if you go to thenextstreet.com/insurance, it's going to bring you to a page that looks a lot like this, or it looks exactly like this actually. And so you're going to go through it. There's a lot of good information for parents after their children get their license, because we always want to be providing knowledge even after you get your license and what you can be doing. So there's all the requirements that you need. There's all of the restrictions that you have to follow as a parent and as a teen of a new driver, and then, everything else that you need to know. But one thing in particular that I want to point out is at the bottom of the page where it says insuring your new teen driver, there's a link where it says insurance discounts. You click that link and it's going to bring you to this, which is a page where you can submit a little form, and then you'll be put in touch with actually Tanya herself, and she will be, kind of guiding you through answering any questions that you have, giving you a free consultation about insurance, any specific questions that might be, for your specific situation. She's there to answer them. That's one of the awesome things about being partnered with Smith Brothers, is that they provide that. So yes, check this out. Follow along. If we don't answer every question that you have today, please reach out and, get a free consultation. There's no harm in it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Tanya. And here she is. I'm just going to do a quick thing. Tanya, if you want to just introduce yourself, I'm just going to mess with the camera a little bit. So.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. And Arthur, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here with y'all today. As Arthur mentioned, my name is Taunya Bird, and I am a producing account executive with Smith Brothers Insurance Agency. Smith Brothers has been around since the early 70s, and we are super proud of our relationship with the Next Street Driving School. Personally, I work on the personal line side, which means I specialize in auto, home, additional liability insurance, all that personal stuff. I've been doing this job in one form or another for about 23 years. So it is something that I do love to do. Some cool things is I get to work with the neat people at the Next Street Driving School. And I get to, from time to time, teach people something about insurance. And so I'm hoping that that's what we do here tonight.
Thank you so much, Tanya. As always, always great to hear from you, and I know that I always love when you come on and answer everyone's questions, because to be honest, I do not have all the answers to insurance. I know a lot about driver's ed, but when it comes to insurance, that's a whole nother animal that I am just not quite as well versed in. So I'm really glad to have you on. And yeah, so if we can, we're gonna get started. Sorry, I'm still messing with the camera stuff because
Right. Well, I'm so excited to see you the last
yeah, I
couple of
know.
times. I was talking to your picture, so I like this.
Yeah, it's nice that usually I have to, the guest can't see me. That's one of the little tricks of the trade that people don't realize, is that I have to kind of hide myself from the guest so that my camera can be presented with the green screen and everything. But
Hmm.
today we don't have to deal with that, which is really nice. Um, I just got word that I'm a little bit quiet, so let me see. I think that should be a little bit better now that I have the mic actually near my face. So let's get started. First thing, I'm going to ask you just a few questions, kind of go
Okay.
through some things that, are commonly asked questions to us, and I'm sure to you.
Hmm. Sure.
And then we're going to kind of just take it from there. Okay, so first question, how much coverage should I have if, I'm a new driver, a regular driver, but especially when it comes to teen drivers?
Absolutely. So first, I'll start out with, well, it depends first on the type of vehicle if you want to have physical damage. If it's an older vehicle or a newer vehicle where you want to get it covered, but you have to have liability. And I'll start out with what the state minimum is, and then I'll let you know what we think that you should have.
Okay.
Um, State minimum is 25,000 per person, 50,000 per accident, and then 25,000 for property damage. And what that means is if you have an accident, you cause the accident, and you cause injuries and damage to something, you've got $50,000 to take care of all of the injuries in that car, and not one person can eat up more than 25,000. And
Mm-hmm.
then you've got 25,000 for the property damage. That is not going to go very far. So what we suggest is that you have at least 250,000 per person and 500,000 per accident, and then 100,000 for that property damage. And we also suggest that you get $1 million umbrella above and beyond that. They're pretty cost effective, and even for our young drivers starting out, we want to make sure that we're not just protecting everything you have today, but everything that you want to own one day. You don't want a judgment against you because you didn't have
You're breaking up just a little bit.
enough quality.
Okay,
So we
there we
want to
go.
make sure that you're protected and own whatever you want.
Oh, sorry,
Oh
sorry.
no.
Okay, I think
Okay.
everything's fine now. It just hit a little bit of a sputter. Um, if you could just
Oh no.
repeat the last thing that you said, just so that we
Oh
can get
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Sure, I was talking about the umbrella and just having the higher amounts of liability, because if something were to happen and you have an accident and you cause injuries higher than your liability limits, a judgment could be put against you, which means you might not be able to buy a house later on down the road,
Mm-hmm.
get loans, stuff like that. So we want to protect everything you have today and then everything you want to have in the future.
All right, understood. Um, so get the better coverage. It's worth it, especially as a younger driver. Unfortunately, chances are you're probably going to get into an accident at some point. Even if it's something small, having that extra peace of mind is huge. And
It is. It is. And a lot of times it's not that much more to price up the
right,
next level of insurance. So,
yeah. So on that same line, what are some of the things that determine pricing when it comes to insurance?
okay. Yeah. So, of course, the coverages. And then we would look at the drivers, how many drivers are in the house, and then what are the driving records for those people in the house. We do rate according to where the car is. So, location is important, the type of car, how the car is used. Is it used, Uber? Is it used, do you drive far to school or work, or do you stay local, just pleasure use? All of that. And then, of course, there's always some discounts involved.
Right. That's what
You
the
let
people
me know
want to
when you
hear.
want to talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
You
the
want to talk
people
about
want to hear is
discounts?
about the discounts. Yeah, so just go right into it. That's what everyone's looking for.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, right here, the next street, definitely one of our preferred relationships. We know that the instructors at Next Street are awesome, and they are going to do everything they can to set you up for success. So there are certainly discounts that go along with this. Grades are a big discount as well. And it's not just A students. So if you're a B student, don't give up. A and B counts. We have some companies that, give a good student discount for the B, but then they also give are you in the top 10%? Are you on high honor roll? So
You
you
get a
can
little extra there.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes there's a little extra. Um, some of our companies have things like a Teen Smart. So although you're taking a course here, the insurance company has their own little class that you can take. It's usually about 6 hours, but they give you 60 days to do it, where they give you some more advice and some more driving tips. So that's a pretty significant discount right there. And then there's things like telematics devices, which in the old days, and when I say old days, like 2 years ago, you
Right.
used to plug it into your car. And I think some companies still have that, but now it's usually connected to an app on your phone. And one of the companies has one called SmartPath, where the parents are the ones connected to it, not necessarily the insurance company, because the insurance company knows that if mom or dad are watching where you're going and when you're going, they're probably giving you some pretty constructive feedback.
Right.
So, and then there are some like you might have seen, I think the first company that really advertised it well was Progressive, has the Snapshot, and uh,
Yeah.
Travelers has like IntelliDrive, all those different apps, and those give you more discounts based on driving habits, like rapid acceleration, hard braking. How far do you drive, and then do you drive in the middle of the night? A lot of insurance companies just feel that no good stuff comes out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Um,
Rarely does.
those are the majority of our discounts, of course.
One thing that we got a question about was, you had talked about grades when you're actually trying to get the discount for the grades. What do you need? Do you need a report card or a transcript? How can you report these grades to the company?
Yeah, we normally go with the last semester's transcripts.
Okay, great. Transcripts. That's
Mhm.
good. I think that answered the question. Okay, so let's see what else we got. So we again talked a little bit about pricing. One other thing that comes up a lot that I see that was definitely, I know it was the thing when I was growing up, at least people talked about it like it was. Is there a difference between insuring a boy and insuring a girl when they get their license?
There is a little difference, but it's
Uh-huh.
not like it used to be.
Okay.
It used to be that the males were quite a bit more expensive. But then the girls caught up because with the claims, because of talking on the cell phones. And although in my limited knowledge, I'm assuming all that's getting better with all the things that we can do and
Yeah.
have our phones turned off and stuff. But yeah, the girls have caught up. So you'll still see a little difference with males being a little more expensive, but it's not the big difference that it used to be.
And there are, just because you brought it up, there are now, I know there are apps. I know even Apple has a thing built into it now that says, this person's driving. It sends a text automatically back, or it's like this person's driving. But are there any apps that you recommend for people, parents especially, to download onto their kids' phones and make sure they're not messing around?
So the majority of those telematics devices, and I do know about the Apple. I love that. Anytime I text my one friend, she drives a lot, and I'll
Right.
automatically
And
get a
so it's
response.
always gonna. Yeah, it's
You're
so
not
funny. My
sure.
girlfriend takes the train every day, and she actually has to turn the thing off when she's on the
Oh,
train because it detects that she's moving. So I always
oh,
text her. I'm like, I
that's
don't think she's driving. Like, she took the train to work.
That's funny. But a lot of those telematics devices that I talked about also have that feature within them that they will turn off notifications on the phone while you're driving. And so if you are a passenger, you would want to turn that off because it could pick up on that.
Right. That makes sense to me. Um, okay, yeah. So telematics devices. What else do we have? What other questions do you get usually? Like, I know. I mean, one of the things that I always, when I was 16, I'm a perfect driver. I never have driven badly. But when I did first get my license, I may or may not have, you know, drove into a guardrail in a parking lot. and I may or may not have panicked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know kind of how to react to the situation. So what do you do in an accident? Because I still don't really know. My mom came and saved me, but that was about all I had.
I think you're good. I shared with you this in the past, and it still surprises me about myself how I have the ability to panic. I had earlier this year, as a 45-year-old, I had my first accident. I lost control on a snowy day, Super Bowl Sunday, and I
Mm-hmm.
hit a pole. And, once, everything was okay, and everything clearly was okay. But when I made that first phone call home, I felt like I was shaking, and I'm like, I just got it. So
Yeah.
don't be like me, but although I understand it, um, but yeah, try to stay calm. But I know, you just heard a loud noise. Your car may have, spun. We don't know what's happened, but you definitely want to try your best to stay calm. And then, you can check, make sure everybody's okay. But you want to call the police. Let's get the police there as soon as possible. Another thing is to not give a statement to the other party. It's okay to speak, and it's okay again to say, are you okay? Make sure everybody's okay, because you want that when you call 911, call the police. But you don't want to say to them, this was my fault, blah blah. Let the police handle that. Be honest with the police, but let the police handle that. Unfortunately, we have run into some things. Some people will say, like, oh, I don't need to really call the police, we'll just fix it, here's my insurance. And we've had things where when the person drives away, the story changes a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's always best to have that police report. Collect the information, as much information as possible, as far as their insurance information. And then I know you've got a smartphone, so take
Yeah.
pictures of everything there. And then once everything's calm, call your agent, or have your parents call your agent. So
That's
then
kind of
that
the last person that you call on the list is your agent, and then you kind of figure it out through, what's going to
right.
happen with your insurance.
Exactly. As far as putting in the claim, we can wait to put in the claim. But I've certainly had calls of someone who has just gotten in an accident, and, I can't find my, in a tizzy, I can't find my ID card. Can you send it right now? So if
Right.
you need something from your agent in that moment, call your agent. But for the most part, as far as setting up the claim, just take care of you in that moment. You can call us later or the next morning, whatever.
Yeah. And another one thing that you brought up, I think is really good. My friend has had experiences with this where they kind of tried to figure it out themselves, and they immediately started kind of giving a statement to the person that they got into an accident with, and then it all kind of turned, because when you're in that moment, if you're a nice person, the first thing you try to do is say, like, I'm sorry, like, if I did anything wrong, when even if you didn't, your first kind of reaction was like, oh, did I do something wrong? So just, yeah, don't don't make sure they're okay. That's fine, but don't start talking too much to them, and make sure that
Yeah.
you're, because tempers kind of get high and people start getting defensive, and then, like you
Mhm.
said, you get issues with people changing their story. So I think that's definitely really good advice that I've seen on secondhand experience. Not with me, but you know. So if you do get into an accident, or if you get into if you get a ticket or anything like that, when you're a teenager, how long does that stay on your record? Because I know that's something that a lot of people get scared about, especially with their insurance company. They say, "Oh, my rates are going to go up," all that stuff. So, talk a little bit about that.
So all that stuff normally stays on your record for 5 years, and that's for everybody, regardless of how old you are. Insurance companies, when they do a quote for you, they're going to run your motor vehicle report, and they're going to take into consideration all the activity in the last 5 years. Now, it's possible that the points on your license, unless something has changed, I think those points only stay on your license for 3 years. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Y'all are taking the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
far as the insurance part, We do look back 5 years for accidents and violations.
Okay, that's good to know. So
It's not forever.
it's not forever, but don't get a ticket. Just drive safely. There's,
Right.
you know, you're fine out
Be
there.
like Arthur.
Yeah, exactly. Be like me. Only that one accident, and it wasn't a collision with anyone else. It's just me and the guardrail. So no harm, no foul. And then, yeah, I mean, now I drive like a grandmother. I'm out there. I I take no risks. I stay in the right lane in the highway. I'm not in a race. That's for sure. I know a lot of people are. And again, if you are, chances are you're going to get into an accident. Your insurance rates are going to go up. Nobody wants to pay more money. If your own safety and other people's safety isn't enough, don't harm your wallet when you don't have to.
Right.
So if so one thing that, again, I guess I know a lot of people now that I'm licensed driving instructor. People drive a lot safer with me in the car,
Yeah.
and they are really on their best behavior. But I do happen to know another person that their friend was driving their car. They got into an accident, and explain what happens after that. So, if you could.
Yeah, of course. So insurance follows the car, not the driver.
Yeah.
So if Arthur lets me borrow his car and I get in an accident, which now I know is possible, if I do that, Arthur's policy is going to pay for to fix his car and to fix whatever damage I've done. His insurance rates will probably go up because I crashed into something with his car.
Yeah.
So that's something to definitely take into consideration. Now, if I maxed out his limits, if the injuries I caused were so high, then my policy would kick in after his as an additional policy. But his would definitely pay first. So you want to make sure, well, you just really, if you can avoid letting a friend drive your car, I would truly avoid letting a friend drive your car.
Just drive your own car. Let them drive their own car. Not worth the risk. You also, yeah, just drive your own car. Don't let your friend drive your car. Any other, by the way, if anyone has any questions throughout this whole process, please just put them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer them. We got another question that was talking about, what about Life 360? Can we use that in lieu of SmartPath? Do you have any knowledge of what that is?
I don't know if you can for a discount, only because I'm not. Give me 1 second. I don't think I have a discount for that here. No.
Okay.
I wish I did. Sorry about that.
So SmartPath is the
SmartPath is the telematic where, but see, the SmartPath will also tell the parent some of the driving habits of what happened. So
sure.
I think Life 360 is more where they are and what time, like you can see where your child is. But where this SmartPath comes into play is it tells you how they got there. If they were speeding, like I said, the hard braking, rapid acceleration, things like that.
Okay. All right. So, fortunately, no. And then, let's see. Oh, we got another question here on our YouTube. This is a little bit more driver's ed related, but it's, what do you do if you're at a traffic light and it's red and there's a cop car behind you and they have to go to an emergency? You have to do whatever you can to pull over. So, generally when there's a cop car, I know exactly the scenario you're talking about, where you're at the front of a line at a red light and there's a cop coming behind you and you kind of don't know what to do. You do your best to try to pull up a little bit and just make sure you don't move if the light turns if the light turns green, and just let them go around you. They know that with their lights on, the oncoming should be getting out of their way, so you should be good with that. So just do your best to not move if the light turns green. Pull over as much as you can. Even angling your car a little bit can help. And, just also be aware that when one emergency vehicle comes, another one is probably coming. So hope that answered that question. Let's
Nicely.
see. Thank you. Yeah. Because I know the situation they're talking where normally when you're driving on the road, it's easy to just pull over, but when you're
Right.
stopped, it can be a little bit more difficult.
Exactly.
So any other tips, tricks, thoughts on your end, for people who are, a teenager just got their license,
Hmm.
what are some tips for the parents and the
Yeah.
teen?
Okay. Well, for the parents, you don't breathe.
Yeah, yeah. Take a deep breath.
It's
Know
gonna be
that,
okay. It's
yeah,
gonna
you
be
were in the
okay.
same position.
So, some tips. I think one of the main things I try to remind new drivers is to not let others influence your decision. And I know that that's hard. It's hard for even me. Like if someone's tailgating, don't speed up because of them. That's what I'm guilty for on 84. I'll speed up like, come
Yeah.
on, leave me alone. But don't, again, you've learned in this, drive like Arthur, not like Tanya.
Ex-
Um, but don't let others, and even if they're waving you on for something, if someone's waving you on, make sure that you can see that you're able to go. Don't just take somebody's word for it. And then do not get engaged in road rage. That never ends well. um, Another thing, basically to go with the, other people waving you on, just always make sure trust your eyes. And when you are in doubt, just don't do anything. Like, if someone's coming and you want to, turn and you can't quite tell, are they coming fast? What's the speed limit? Are they
Mhm.
speeding or are they going really slow? Whatever it is, if you don't know, just wait for them to drive by. And then to be able to do all that, you want to make sure that you plan ahead, know the route you're going to take and make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get there. So then if you do have, slow drivers around you, you can mosey along with them without
Yeah.
getting upset or getting road rage. You've got time to wait for people that you don't know how they're doing, so definitely, plan your trip ahead. And if you're a brand new driver and you don't like turning left into certain things, it's always good to figure out how, you can't probably get everywhere with right turns, but if you plan out your trip ahead of time, you can do it to where you can take as many right turns as possible to avoid
Yep.
those left turns.
Yeah. And we always say, anytime I've done a lesson with a student, it's very cliche, but better safe than sorry. That's
Right.
always the mantra that you have to be thinking. You know, when you're a new driver, you're not as comfortable as a lot of the other people around you. Even, people who've been driving 20 years, you can see that they're still doing things wrong, but know that you're probably going to make a mistake or two and that you just take it safe. Do whatever the safest thing is. That's always the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, don't get pressured by other people. That's one of my favorite things you said because when I did the when I hosted for the license tests, we that was one of the things that I always say on your license test and driving in general. But you're driving you're going to be driving a little bit slower. People are probably going to tailgate you. People are probably going to try to cut you off so that they don't have to sit behind you. There's all sorts of things. When you're in a next street car, yeah, in a student driver car, people will try to do these little things so that they know that you're going to be maybe a little slower. So when you're a new driver, just be aware that other people might be driving a little bit recklessly, and
Mm-hmm.
just take your time, do the safest thing. That is, yeah, that what you said was perfect about just take your time. That's it. All right, so I think unless there's any other questions, we're gonna wrap it up here. I know that you just kind of gave a little bit of a summary of some of the tips, but just when if you could just take us quickly through, um, when again you got your license, what does the parent do first?
Call your agent. It's always good to let them know when your young driver has their permit. Some companies, just like to know that, but normally they don't rate on the young driver. The majority of the companies don't rate on the new driver until they actually get their license. I'm sorry. So call your agent. And then when you speak to your agent, they should ask for, you'll talk about the different discounts that are available. Every company is a little bit different, but the majority of companies have several different options for those discounts. And then, of course, you'll want to send in their grades, so then they can max out the discounts. But the main thing is just calling the insurance company or your agency with the new driver's license number and getting them added onto your policy.
And that's generally the cheapest option, is to put them on your policy. I know some people try to, think that they're doing something when they say, all right, I'm going to put them on their own policy, but usually that's the cheapest option, right? Is to put them on yours.
It is because usually you probably have, if you have more than one car or you have homeowners or renters, so you probably have some sort of a bundle, and you've already been driving for several years. So in the insurance world, you've got some credit,
Right.
where the new person doesn't have any of that. So for an insurance company to rate on a new driver where they don't have any other lines of business, so there's no multi-policy discounts. They have no idea how they're going to drive. They've never been insured before. Unfortunately, that rate is going to be very high. So if you're able to add them, we encourage you. And even if they're in your house and they have their own policy, if they're under 25, it still could come on you anyway. If you're thinking of that's a way of protecting yourself, you're
Right.
still responsible for them. So adding them to your policy, they have access to those multi-policy discounts. They have access to how long you've had insurance. And so then later on, when they go out on their own, then they've built up some of that credibility with the companies so they can get something better, down the road.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you as always, Tanya, and I know that we will have you on in probably about, a month or so to kind of go through all this again for our new people that sign up at that point. If you missed any of this webinar, please, check it out. It's on our YouTube now. It immediately gets uploaded to our YouTube and Facebook. You can watch it all back. We'll have some clips up on our social medias. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Apparently, we're doing something right on TikTok. So, follow us there. It's all just at the next street. And again, thank you so much, Tanya. That is about it. So if you want to just end it here, that'd be great.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for having me. And just something quick, as Arthur said in the beginning, if you go to the insurance page, it'll send a link right to me. I'm here as part of this partnership. I'm here to answer any questions. You don't have to write a policy with us. We know we're not for everybody. I'd love the opportunity to quote you, but if you have a question, feel free to reach out to me. And even if you're the new driver, you can reach out to me with any questions as well. I'm here to be a resource for y'all. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tanya. And thank you for everyone with their questions and for your views. And we will see you soon. I'll see you next week with a license testing webinar. Just in case you're a little bit confused, I didn't actually mention this on top, but we're supposed to do the license testing webinar this week and then the insurance next week, but things got flipped. So if you came here for that, I'm glad you stayed for, good information here. But we will be doing the license testing webinar next week. So join us for that. And thank you so much.